Crochet a classic granny square with me. This is a great project for beginner crocheters, and we're only going to use one color yarn. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for more. So first we're going to start with this middle piece, making this X or cross shape. First thing you want to do is you want to create your slip knot, making a bow, and then with the loop that's connected to the tail end of your yarn, you want to continue pulling out that loop. And now we have created a simple slip knot. So when you pull on the working end, you're either able to tighten or you can pull on the loop to loosen the loop. But if you pull on the tail end, it won't tighten the loop at all. So now we want to put it on our crochet hook. You want it tight, but not too tight. You want to be able to move it back and forth on your crochet hook. You don't want it overly loose as well. This is how I hold my yarn between my pointer finger and middle finger. And then I use my thumb and middle finger to hold the knot. And now we're going to chain 4 by yarning over and pulling through the loop 4 times. So there's 3 and 4. And you'll notice each time I make a chain, I move my middle finger and thumb up the chain. Now we're going to close our chain to make a loop by doing a slip stitch. In the first chain, put through your crochet hook, yarn over, pull through a loop, so there's 2 loops on the hook, and then pull the first loop through the second loop to create your slip stitch. So now we have created our circle. Next we're going to start with our first row, and we're going to do this by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3. And this chain will count as one of your double crochets. Now we need 2 double crochets. Yarn over, go through the middle of your circle, yarn over to pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your crochet hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through the last 2. That's 1 double crochet. So yarn over, go through the middle of your circle, yarn over to pull up a loop, 3 loops on your crochet hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through the last 2 loops. Then we're going to chain 2. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 3 double crochets in the middle of our circle. Yarn over, go through the middle of your circle, middle of the circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Do this 2 more times. Yarn over, go through the middle of your circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through 2 loops, and your last double crochet, we're going to do the same thing. It's in sets of 3. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now that we've done 3, then we want to chain 2. 1, 2. Now we're going to do this again 2 more times. We want to do 3 double crochets in the middle of our circle. There's 1 double crochet, and now we're going to do our second double crochet, and now our third. After our last or third double crochet, remember you want to chain 2. So we're going to go 1, 2. And now we need to do 3 more double crochets in the middle of our circle. So here's our first, second, and again now our third double crochet. Now we want to chain 2. And now we're going to connect it into our first chain 3 that we did to start. So to connect our circle, we're going to do that with a slip stitch. So here's our chain where we started, and right, if you can see right here, where you see that loop when I pull up, where our chain 3 is, I'm going to slip stitch right into there. So put your hook through, yarn over, pull through a loop, and then pull through the loop through the other loop to slip stitch. And that is our first row. Now we're going to move on to our second row, but we're going to use the same colored yarn. So we just finished this guy here. Now we're going to move up to this next row here, which will be 8 of these double crochets, 3 of them the same pattern. So first we chain 3, and now we're going to go into this hole right behind the chain 3 to do our 2 double crochets. So yarn over, and we're going to go through this hole right here, right there. Yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now do our last one, do the same way right behind that chain 3. That's our second double crochet. And then you kind of move them over, and that makes our first set of 3 double crochets. Now we want to chain 1 because we have 3 double crochets right below it. So we just chain 1 here, and now we're going to do the corner right here. So now we're in the corner, so it gets 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets all into this same loop. So we're going to do 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Since we're at a corner, now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and now 3 more double crochets into that same opening. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and now 3 double crochet. Once we're done with our 3rd double crochet, now we're going to be like on the straight. We just need to chain 1. So there's our corner. Now there's 3 double crochets here below it, so it's just a chain 1. And now we're to the next corner where we'll do the same thing into this opening. We're going to do 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. To make our corner, we then need to chain 2, 1, 2, and now 3 more double crochets into that same opening. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochet. Now that our corner is done, we're going to just chain 1 because we have this 3 double crochet below it. We're on the straight, so chain 1, and now we're to another corner. So it will be 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets all into that same opening to make our corner. So there's 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet. Now we want to chain 2, 1, 2, and now do 3 more double crochets into that same opening to complete our corner. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, corner is done. Now we're on a straight again. There's 3 double crochets in the below row, so we just need to now chain 1. And now we're going to finish our corner where we started. So in this one, all we have to do is 3 double crochets into this opening. 1, 2, 3 double crochet, and now we're going to chain 2 and connect it right here where our beginning chain 3 was, and it's in that same loop right here when we pull up right there. You see that loop? We're going to slip stitch by putting your needle or your hook through, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then slip the first loop through the second loop. And now our second row is done. And here is what it should look like. So now we're going to move on to row 3. So row 1, row 2, there's 8 of them. Row 3, there is 12 of these 3 double crochet, either chain 1 or the chain 2 if you're in the corner. So to start the 3rd row, we need to chain 3 to go up, and that will act as our first double crochet, chain 3, And now again, you're going to go do 2 double crochets behind this chain 3 into this big opening behind it, right there. So yarn over, go through the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Same thing, yarn over, go through the opening behind it, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's the start of our corner, right there. And so that chain 3 acts as part of our double crochet, plus where we slip stitch it together. So now we just need to chain 1 because we're on our straight, and we have these 3 double crochets below it. So that's a chain 1. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets into this opening right here. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet. Now we're still on our straight, and there's 3 double crochets right here, so we need to chain 1, and now we can go into our corner here, where we're going to do 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and remember the corner then gets 2 chains, 1, 2, and then 3 more double crochets into the same opening to finish our corner. 1, 2, 3. Now that the corner is done, we're on the straight, and there's 3 double crochets on the below row, so it just gets a chain 1. And now we're going to do 3 double crochets into this opening on the straight. 1, 2, 3. Now we're still on the straight, and the next was 3 double crochets below, so we just chain 1, and now we get to our corner right here. So we're going to do 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and now our corner, we chain 2, and now do 3 more double crochets into that same opening to complete our corner. 1, 2, 3. Now we're on our straight, there's 3 double crochets below, so just chain 1, and now into the next opening, do 3 more double crochets on the straight. 1, 2, 3. Still on our straight, we want to chain 1, and now we can do our corner, 3 double crochets into the opening. 1, 2, 3. A corner gets 2 chains, 1, 2, and now 3 more double crochets to complete the corner. 1, 2, and 3. Corner is complete. Now we're on our straight. So next we need to chain 1 because there's 3 double crochets below. Chain 1 in the opening. Now 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Still on our straight, there's 3 double crochets below, so chain 1, and now we're just going to finish our corner right here. So we're going to connect the corners together. So we need to just do 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, and now we're going to slip stitch to join them together. So again, this was our beginning chain 3 that we had. So that acts as our first double crochet, and then right where you see the loop when we pull up, that's where I like to slip stitch it in. So go in there, yarn over, pull through a loop, and then slip stitch the first loop into the second one. And that is our third row now completed. Now we're to our last row. And that will complete our granny square. So if you notice, there's a trend to the pattern. Here's my completed granny square. So now we had our first row, our second row, third row, and now we have our fourth row, and this will have 16 3 double crochets, either chain 1 or chain 2 if you're in the corner. So to start our next row, we're going to do the same thing like before. Chain 3, this will act as your first double crochet. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets in the loop right behind it to be in our corner right here. So yarn over, go through, and we're going to do 1 double crochet and then 2 double crochet. There's our start half of our corner. And now we have 3 double crochets. So there on our straight we do a chain 1. Now we have our opening. We do 3 double crochets in that opening. One, two, 3. And now remember, we're still on our straight. The below row has 3 double crochets, so we just chain 1. And now we have another opening because we're getting bigger. So we have 3 more double crochets we need to do. 1, 2, and 3. And then again, remember we chain 1 because there's 3 double crochets in the below row. Chain 1. Now we're in our corner. So in this corner opening, we do the same thing. 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Remember the corner, we chain 2, and then we do 3 double crochets in that same opening to complete our corner. And that's the pattern. And you could even do more rows if you want to do an even bigger granny square, and it's the same pattern, you just keep adding those 3 double crochets. So now we're finishing our corner with our 3rd double crochet. Remember the straight, there's 3 double crochets, so we just chain 1. Now we have our opening. So now that gets 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 double crochets below, so what do? Chain 1. Next we have our opening, so that gets 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and a 3rd. And then you'll see in the row below we have 3 double crochets. So what happens there? We have to chain 1. And now we're in our corner. So our corner gets 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and here's our 3rd. To make the corner, we then have to chain 2, and then it gets 3 more double crochets in that same opening. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we're back to our straight again, and there's 3 double crochets below, so we just chain 1. Now we have an opening. What does he get? He gets 3 double crochets. 2, and 3. And now right below there's a 3 double crochets, so we chain 1, and we have another opening. So what does he get? He gets 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we're at our corner, but there's 3 double crochets, so we have to chain 1, and now we can do our corner in the opening, which is 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and if you're remembering the pattern, corners are special because they get what? 2 chains, and then 3 more double crochets into the same opening so we can make our corner. What do we do after our corner? Once we're on the straight and there's 3 double crochets, we chain 1. And then in the next opening, we do 3 double crochets. There's our third. We're still on the straight. What do we do here? Chain 1. In the opening, now what do we have? 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now we have 3 here, so we just chain 1. And now we're going to finish our corner. We have our opening to finish our last corner. So he gets 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now I need to chain 2. 1, 2. And then we can slip stitch into our beginning chain 3. So again, if you pull it, you're going to see that opening, and it's kind of where that green is mixing in with the blue right there. And there's a hole right there. See it? That's where we're going to slip stitch right through, right there. So take your crochet hook, put it through that hole, pull up a loop, and then slip the first loop through the second loop to create our slip stitch. Pull out a little bit. We can cut off the tail end of our working yarn, pull it through to secure, and there is our classic granny square using only one color, and so you don't have to change out the yarn at all. And that's what's fun about using the variegated yarn. You still get that multicolored look without having a lot of ends to weave in as well. So the other thing I like to do is I'm just going to take a needle and I'm going to put a knot in here just to secure it, because I'm going to make a granny square purse out of this, which I'll do a tutorial on later on. So like and subscribe for that, but we're just going to take a needle right through here and secure it with a knot just so he doesn't come out. And so now you can make as many granny squares as you want, like this, just over and over again using that same pattern. Also remember to block your granny squares. These are cotton, so I do submerge them in water and I pat them dry, squeeze out any excess, and then I put them on my block that I have. And then I can do multiple at a time. I do leave gaps in between so the air can go through to dry them. Blocking is an important step because this helps make all your squares uniform and the same shape, even though you've used the same pattern. Some can be slightly tighter, some can be slightly looser. Here's how they look and the gaps I've made. I have 13 here on my block, and I have a little fan on them as well just to make sure it dries them thoroughly. And I'll turn the block every now and then to get the air going around all sides, and this will make it a lot easier then to sew them together to make a purse or a cardigan or whatever you would like. So like and follow for more, and I'm going to do my granny square purse tutorial coming up very soon on how to sew these together. And so here's how the granny squares look after blocking them. They are just nice, they're all uniform, have really crisp, clean lines, and it'll make it much easier then to join them together. So like I said, this was cotton yarn, so do your research depending on if you have a wool yarn, an acrylic yarn, cotton yarn, how you block it, because each type of fiber does use a little bit different method on how to block them. So definitely do that, but I appreciate all your guys' support, and thank you so much for watching, and happy crafting. We'll see you next time.